With everything on the line and only minutes remaining until the end, Goku battles Jiren at full power as they look to close off the biggest tournament in all of Dragon Ball history. But did the voice actors of Dragon Ball Super reveal the final episode by mistake? And if they did, what does this mean for the future of the series? On today's video, we will be discussing the final episode of Dragon Ball Super and the endless possibilities it has for it to continue in the future, so hold on to your seats because we are going to be discussing the ending of Dragon Ball Super next. If you are new to this channel and enjoy what you see, then don't forget to punch that subscribe button and turn on all notifications by clicking on the bell icon to receive new and daily content on your mobile devices, desktops, and services that I provide, along with following me on these social media platforms to stay connected with me at all times. Thank you so much for your continued support. Now let's begin. With Dragon Ball Super's final episode airing on March 25th, 2018, the provisional title for Dragon Ball Super episode 131 is entitled Goku Until the Day We Meet Again, which is vaguely and unironically very similar to the final episode of Dragon Ball GT, as it was entitled Goodbye Goku Until the Day We Meet Again, and that kind of foreshadows one of many things, one of which being that there is a possibility that one day Dragon Ball may return in the form of a television show. But until then, the question on everyone's mind is what exactly is going to be the end result of Goku having to fight Jiren during Dragon Ball Super's Tournament of Power finale? Is there going to be any chance of us witnessing some sort of a double elimination in which causes Universe 7 to win because of Frieza having to remain in the ring? Is Frieza going to be any sort of key component in allowing Universe 7 to win the tournament? We don't really know. But what I do want to discuss here today is the ending of Dragon Ball Super and what that may lead into. Now, of course, this could obviously lead into one of three scenarios happening, either Frieza winning, Jiren winning, or Goku winning. But with the latest news that we've gathered in the last couple of days, I'm fairly certain that by the end, Goku is going to win the Tournament of Power. It only makes sense, especially with the title having to be provisional and the idea that we may see Goku return one day yet again, which kind of indicates that Jiren isn't going to be the one that wins the Tournament of Power. So if that ends up being the case, what happens to Jiren? What happens to Universe 11? Is this going to be the final time that we will ever get to see Jiren and the other universes on screen in the world of Dragon Ball again? That, my friends, remains a mystery. However, I do feel like by the end, we received a big tip as to what exactly may happen in the end of Dragon Ball Super, courtesy of the cast members and voice actors of the Dragon Ball Super show. Now, as you guys can see on screen, this was the final celebration. This was taken right after the final episode of Dragon Ball Super was recorded for Dragon Ball Super episode 131. And what's most interesting is that there is one person that is sitting at that table that is presently not involved in the finale of the Tournament of Power. That person having to be Daisuke Kishio, and for those of you who don't know, Daisuke Kishio is the voice actor of Kaba. Now, what's also very interesting to note about Daisuke Kishio being there is that while Daisuke Kishio is there, the more important question is why is he there? And I do firmly believe that by the end, if Goku does end up winning the Tournament of Power, Goku may not be the person to make the wish after all. I do believe that with everything having to be foreshadowed, it is going to be handed on over to Vegeta to make the wish in reviving Universe 6. Now, everything does go hand in hand, especially with the upcoming movie in December, with the origin of the Saiyan powers having to be revealed. It only makes sense that by the very end, even though Goku wins, he is not the person that makes the wish, but in fact hands the wish on over to Vegeta in having to revive Universe 6. Now again, this is only a theory, but this theory is backed up on all of the foreshadowing we've seen with Vegeta's character in having to promise Kaba and making the wish, and Vegeta being the last person, the only person, to hand Goku energy off for him to even stand a remote chance in fighting against Jiren. So I do think that by the end, if the idea isn't presented of Goku handing the wish on over to Vegeta, then the most predictable option would be for Goku to wish everybody back. But even then, just as many others would be wondering, what about Frieza? I'm fairly certain that at this point, I really don't think that Frieza is going to turn his back against Goku. It's very unknown as to what Frieza is doing or where he even is, because in the recent spoilers, Frieza was not mentioned at all, and this can go in one of two directions. Either Frieza betrays or Frieza plays along. If Frieza does end up playing along, but ends up going back to Hell, I don't think it's going to be the last time we ever see of Frieza's character in the world of Dragon Ball. If he ends up betraying Goku, but Universe 7 ends up winning by the end, I could see Frieza being Hokkai'd by Beerus and never having to return in the world of Dragon Ball ever again. But even with the recent provisional spoilers of Goku until we meet again one day, what is it we have in the future to look forward to in terms of the content leaving off after Dragon Ball Super? Well, again, this goes back to the movie. I do believe that if Universe 6 is revived, it only makes that much more sense for the next movie to take place after the Tournament of Power and having Vegeta visit and not only meeting its people, but also meeting planet Sadala's king. And I do feel like it only makes that much more sense for Goku to win the Tournament of Power, as there are only 3 episodes remaining, and with the recent translations having to depict how strong Goku's truly going to be, it is stated that basically Goku in this mastered UI form is going to be pretty much indestructible, unbeatable, the unprecedented power of Goku, the inner powers that lie deep within him having to manifest onto the surface. And with that kind of power having to be showcased, I don't think there is any remote chance in Jiren having to topple Goku and beating him by the end of the Tournament of Power, which by the end kind of goes to show how indestructible Goku would be if he completely ends up mollywopping Jiren, because at that given point you have to ask yourself, what is left for Goku? How high can he go in terms of achieving a new power, and what is going to be the end result of his character as we go into the final episode? Now, there is no official confirmation or word of Oob having to be revealed during Dragon Ball Super episode 131, because as of this recording, we don't have any official summaries or spoilers for Dragon Ball Super episode 130 or 131 aside from provisional titles. But we can only make the assumption that perhaps maybe they might go into the ending of Dragon Ball Z with Goku having to meet Oob and going off to train with him. However, that also begs the question on whether or not they're going to identically copy the ending of Dragon Ball Z with Goku having to tell Oob that he's been the strongest person he's ever fought before, which again has to be retconned because the strongest person arguably that Goku has ever fought thus far is perhaps Jiren and of course Beerus. But with the idea of Oob having to be introduced, which isn't confirmed as of this recording, they're going to have to retcon the overall approach of Goku and Oob and possibly having to continue the story down the line with the reintroduction of a brand new series. But again, that's only if they decide to introduce Oob by the end of Dragon Ball Super, which is going to lead into the ending of Dragon Ball Z. Now, what about Goku's mastered Ultra Instinct form? Are we ever going to see it again? I firmly do believe that with such a power like this having to be introduced, it's likely that we are going to see mastered Ultra Instinct return yet again, but it isn't going to be for quite some time, at least until we get to see the upcoming movie having to come into fruition and seeing where the Saiyans were originally from and where their powers came from, which to a lot of people, including myself, would be a really cool idea, in having Goku showcase Ultra Instinct yet again in the upcoming film. But even after, we don't really know in terms of direction as to what they plan on doing with the future of the series. Does this mean that the Dragon Ball franchise is over? No. Does this mean that Dragon Ball Super as a story has reached its conclusion? Yes, but with the conclusion of one story, there is always the possibility of the beginning of a new story, and that story just may involve Vegeta having to visit planet Sadala and the continuation of Goku having to continue on his journey in becoming the strongest, as eventually, hopefully down the line, we also get to see the inevitable rematch of Goku and Beerus in the form of a movie or possibly a series. But I do believe that based on the recent spoilers, it is undoubtful that Goku is going to win, because by the end, I do believe that Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku is going to completely and utterly annihilate Jiren, which, even though it is predictable based on the Dragon Ball Super episode 129 preview and the provisional spoilers, hopefully enough Jiren does put up a very good fight before he ends up going down. And I really do hope that this is not going to be the last time we will ever get to see Jiren show up in Dragon Ball, but hopefully enough even afterwards we get to see something else happen to where such characters like Jiren could potentially one day return in the form of a brand new Dragon Ball show. But with Daisuke Kishio having to be there, I'm fairly certain that by the end, Universe 6 is going to be brought back, and possibly seeing Kaba give more information to Vegeta about the whereabouts of planet Sadala and visiting planet Sadala, as I do think the main narrative going forward is going to be Vegeta visiting Universe 6, visiting planet Sadala, and interacting and teaching those Saiyans of the ways of having Saiyan pride. And the reason for that is because I don't think they want to purposely foreshadow Vegeta wanting to wish back Kaba and wanting to visit planet Sadala without having to have any purpose in the show. which is why I believe that by the very end, Daisuke Kushio is there for a reason, and that reason being Kaba having to interact with Vegeta in the end and having to speak to him about Planet Sadala and possibly one day going out to visit. But even at that, I do want to make the bold prediction in saying that I do think that by the very end, it is possible for us to close off the series and seeing Vegeta go off to visit Planet Sadala while Goku remains on Earth, possibly in having to encounter Oob for the first time in the anime, and possibly saying his farewell to Beerus and Whis before the start of a brand new movie and or a brand new show. But aside the movie and the show, in the end, I would like to know what's on your mind in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku having to defeat Jiren, especially with the translations having to state that Goku's pretty much indestructible? What are your thoughts as to how this is all going to end involving Mastered UI Goku and Jiren? Is it possible for somebody else like Frieza to win? What do you guys think is going to happen to Frieza by the end of the series? Is he going to go back to hell? Is he going to be redeemed and become a good guy? Is he going to be Hokkai'd by Beerus? And in the foreseeable future, do you guys see another Dragon Ball show having to re-emerge and possibly having to continue off of the events of the Tournament of Power? What are your overall thoughts on Daisuke Kishio having to be involved in possibly the finale of Dragon Ball Super? And what are your overall thoughts on the very end with the provisional title having to state Goku until we meet again? What does that mean? Let me know your thoughts down below, guys. Thank you all so very much for watching. If you guys love Dragon Ball and enjoy the content that I provide, hit that subscribe button, guys. Turn on all notifications. That way you guys can be the first to be notified whenever a brand new video is posted on this channel. Post your comments down below as to what you guys think. Thank you all so much for watching. Tune back in for more, and I'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below. Cue my outro, bitch.